What is the purpose of the Kappa League? The purpose of the Kappa League is to promote and develop the leadership potential of its members through participation in club-oriented activities and at the same time motivate them to raise their aspiration level. What is our pledge? I pledge that as a member of this Kappa League, I will faithfully and truly perform to the best of my ability the duties and responsibilities to uphold the objectives of good leadership and development.
Thank you, Zion, for providing that information. And again, gentlemen, welcome. This will be a great topic. I'm so excited to hear what our National Kappa League Board has been working on regarding Black Lives Matter. At this time, I am going to.
What topic is it?
Black Lives Matter.
Oh, that'll be interesting.
Okay. So before we get into that, I'm going to Brother Jackson, are we all set?
You want to know what basketball game I'm watching right now?
Not right now, Justin.
Not right now, Justin.
Chris Young? Brother Young?
Yes, sir, I'm on.
Okay.
I just want to make sure that you can, hold on 1 second. We're going to make sure that you can share your screen. Please try to share your screen right now, please.
Actually, my presentation is all verbal. I won't even need to share my screen.
Okay.
No problem.
Then we're
all
good.
Right. So, young men, again, this is an opportunity for you to sit back, listen, make sure that you're attentive, turn your cameras on. This is an opportunity for you to connect with your National Kappa League Board. I will turn it over to Jameer Sherman, who will be leading this conversation along with several members of the National Kappa League Board. So, Jameer, the floor is yours.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Welcome to the National Kappa League Board, aka National Kappa League Board for BLM, aka Black Lives Matter. Our gentlemen worked very hard. Our board worked very hard for this for several weeks. Very proud how it came out, and I hope you guys will enjoy. So with that, I will share my screen. Also, by the end, we will be asking questions in the chat, and please put your name and your Kappa League chapter. All right, with that, let's get started.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Xavier Walker. I'm a freshman at Petersburg High School, and I'm also a part of the Petersburg, Virginia Kappa League. I would like to welcome you all to the 2021 Kappa League Black Lives Matter event today, and welcome.
Never done that before.
The Bachelor is back.
Sorry. Get a little handsy. I'll be right back. Hold on.
That was powerful.
All right. So good afternoon, gentlemen. My name is Jameer Sherman. I'm from the Petersburg Alumni Chapter, and I'm a senior. And I'm here to talk about global Black Lives Matter. What I mean by this is that this is not just an American movement. This movement has spread across the world. It has spread across to Korea, Japan, France, Brazil, and this has been going. We all know that injustice around Black African Americans have been going on for centuries, but it has not just been. But George Floyd obviously spurred something in people, spurred spurred a movement that not just in America, not across all the 50 states, not just in the county, across the world. Across the world. And millions of people are going across the world protesting Black Lives Matter, supporting this movement. And it's absolutely heartwarming. It's absolutely amazing that these people realize the injustice that we're facing in America and the injustice that others face in their own country. Global Black, hundreds of thousands of people in London, Sydney, Rio, and other places that I can't even name have come to support this movement.
Hello, my name is Kendall Osmer. I'm with the St. Louis chapter, and I am also a senior. And I'm here to just give a little information about Black oppression. So what is oppression? So oppression is prolonged, cruel, or unjust treatment or control for a period of time. And this has been going on for centuries, not just in the world, but also for Black people mainly. And it's really big for Black people, and it's been going on for centuries alone. And in the next slide, you will see all the different examples of Black oppression that have been going on.
Good evening. My name is Chase Pringle. I am a freshman attending Latonia High School, and I am from the Lawrenceville Duluth Alumni Chapter. But what is Black Lives Matter? Black Lives Matter was launched by Patrice Cullors, Alicia Garza, and Opel Tamonte in the summer of 2013 after the death of Trayvon Martin. It was created as an online community to help combat anti-Black racism. And in the past 7 years, Black Lives Matter has become a movement and has grown to 23 chapters across the United States. And they work for a world where Black lives are no longer systematically targeted.
All right.
Reynolds, you on?
My name is Kappa. The Black Lives Matter movement, or Black Lives BLM, has only been increasing in importance from when it was established in 2013. The movement really saw an explosion of activity after the death of George Floyd on May 25th, 2020. After this travesty, people began flocking to the streets all over the world, protesting systematic racism and police brutality. However, there were some voices who were not heard. Stories of people who'd been killed by the police only to resurface after the Black Lives Matter movement gained traction. These are some of the victims of excessive police brutality that occurred in 2020. January 27th, William Green. You may or may not have heard the story, but William Green is shot fatally 6 times while handcuffed in the front seat of a patrol car. He is already restrained, so this is overkill. February 23rd, Ahmaud Arbery is shot and killed while jogging in his neighborhood. Apparently, he fit the description of somebody who has been robbing houses in the area. His killers are not in prison until May. He is completely innocent. March 3rd, Manuel Ellis dies in police custody. It is said that he also yelled, "I can't breathe." He died because of the physical restraint caused by the police officers. March 13th, Breonna Taylor is sleeping in her home when officers arrive. They fail to announce themselves, and thinking they might be being robbed, her boyfriend shoots a shot, hitting a police officer. and in retaliation, other officers fired into her home and the neighboring ones, killing her and injuring her neighbors. She was shot about 5 times. June 12th, Rayshard Brooks falls asleep in the drive-through lane at a fast food restaurant, blocking the path. 2 officers arrive and tell Brooks that he has had too much to drink to drive after 40 minutes of questioning sobriety tests. A struggle ensues and Brooks tries to flee, only to be shot in the back twice. There are other methods that can be used to restrain him. These were not necessarily the first victims in 2020, nor would they be the last. However, it is still important to bring light to their stories so that their families and friends may have a chance at getting rightful justice.
Hello, my name is Mason Wakoma and I am from the San Antonio chapter of Kappa. I am a freshman and I go to the Christian school at Castle Hills. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about police brutality. The hard truth. Black men are 2 times more likely to be killed. A 2018 study in the American Journal of Public Health found that Black men are 2 times as likely to be killed by police compared to their white counterparts. Black men are 21% more likely to have a weapon drawn. A 2016 National Bureau of National Economic Research found that Blacks are 21% more likely than whites to be involved in an interaction with the police in which a weapon is drawn. Blacks are 50% more likely to experience violence. A Yale study points out that Blacks are more than 50% more likely to have an interaction with the police that involves any use of force, such as slapping, grabbing, or pushing. Next, we're going to ask a question. The question is, how would you respond when having an interaction with the police? Please type your answers in the chat box. Do what they say, okay? Don't argue. Respectfully communicate, comply, be calm, don't reach, okay? Those are all good answers. Now, the next question is, what is the right way to act when you have a negative encounter? On the next slide are 5 ways to act when you have a negative encounter with the police. The first point is, stay mentally and physically calm. Make sure you do whatever helps you stay calm. Unfortunately, your life may depend on it. If you're in a car, make sure that your hands remain where the officer can see them. This will help the officer know you are not reaching for anything that might give them an excuse to shoot. If you're going to reach for something, make sure you tell the officer before you do it. The second point is, be aware of your surroundings. If a cop signals to pull you over, make sure that you signal them to follow you to a populated area. It is best to pull into a populated area where there are more eyewitnesses around. While this does not guarantee your total safety, it is the safer route. The third point is, remain respectful. If a police is being disrespectful, don't be disrespectful back. That'll only just make it worse. Don't only just not be respectful with your words, but also with your body language. Make sure this point is understood by everyone in the car, because escalations can come from more than just the driver and policeman interaction. The fourth point is, keep record and take notes. If you ever have an encounter with an officer, keep the ticket and take note of the interaction. This will help because if they try to accuse you of something, you have the evidence to prove them wrong. Make sure to keep your tickets and notes in a safe place. Also, take note of the officer's name. If you're called in, along with your tickets and notes, you want to be able to give the name of the officer and a detailed account of the situation from your perspective. The fifth and last point is, know your rights. If you are arrested, know that you have the right to silence and an attorney. Some other basic rights you have are the rights for an officer not to check your house or your car without permission. I've included 2 important links down below. These links are, how do I handle encounters with the police? And the second one is the Know Your Rights campaign started by Colin Kaepernick. In closing, our generation has been charged with recognizing the injustices that we face and dealing with them head on so that we can create a resolution in our lifetime. In conclusion, I leave you with the words of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. It is not possible to be in favor of justice for some people and not be in favor of justice for all people. Thank you. Now I'll return it back to Jameer.
Thank you, Reynolds. So again, I will put the links in the chat by the end of the presentation. But how do we confront this? How do we confront the injustice that is happening in our society, in our nation, and even in our states, and probably happening in our counties? Here's how I would prefer you to address this in 5 steps. It's step 1. Be proactive, gentlemen. Know that you have the ability to be involved in your community. Know that you have the ability to be involved in your country. Know it is important for you to be involved in your country. As this quote down here, every day do something that will inch you to a better tomorrow. To inch you closer to a better tomorrow. I'm a true believer in that quote. Do something today to make sure that there is a better tomorrow. Better tomorrow. Whether it's that. And what we see with Black Lives Matters, we see the protests, we see the injustice that these policemen did to George Floyd, but not just George Floyd, to Breonna Taylor, so on and so forth. There's too many to name, and that's very unfortunate. But we have the ability to change it, and it's changing right now. My step 2. is think inside out. And with this, I like to say a quote. When I was a young man, I wanted to change the world. I found it was difficult to change the world, so I tried to change my nation. When I found out I couldn't change my nation, I began to focus on my town. I couldn't change my town. As an older man, I tried to change my family. Now as an old man, I realized the only thing I could change is myself. And suddenly I realized if it was long ago, I changed myself, I could have changed my impact on my family. My family and I can make an impact on our town, and their impact could have changed the nation, and I could have indeed having changed the world. Now this quote says to me 2 things, is that 1, no one does it alone. No one person changes something alone. No one can do it alone. It's never been done. So we need to make sure that we are together. But also that we have the ability to change ourselves. It's the same thing with being proactive. We have to change ourselves. We need to know that we have the ability to change ourselves, and so on and so forth. We need to know that we have the ability to change the world. And that's what's happening with Black Lives Matter. As Chase has wonderfully said, that these women who began Black Lives Matter, they were the beginning, and it grew throughout the 21st century. And George Floyd may have been the catalyst for it booming into the world, but it started with these 3 men. And those 3 women, they indeed changed the world. Step 3. Conduct your own research, gentlemen. Be mindful. Keep learning. Continue to learn on Black Lives Matter. What I hope to do is, what I hope to happen is when I end this presentation and I put the links into the chat, I hope for you to research, to go more in depth on Black Lives Matter. I want you to inform yourself on the current state of Black Lives Matter and the future state that is going, because it's important to keep ourselves informed, because the world is forever changing. It's changing constantly, and it's changing fast. It's changing faster than ever. So I want to help you keep yourself informed. I want you to continue learning. I want you to see the progress we're making, but also that we still have a long way to go. As a quote from Malcolm X, education is the passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to those who prepare it for it today. Step 4. It's exercise your interdependence. What I mean by this is be open to communication, but also be open to different points of views. You may not always agree with someone else's opinion, and that's okay. It's okay to disagree with somebody. it's okay to not have the same views. Make sure that it's one, when you conduct your own research, know that what you know you're talking about and know why you have that view. Know why that, okay, this is my view because this is what I believe in or this is what I support. And the person, everybody comes from their own backgrounds, can have their views because that's what they grew up with. That's kind of what they support. They did their research and that's what they support. And it's okay to disagree. It's okay to have different opinions. What is not okay is to break windows. What is not okay is to invade the Capitol. What is not okay is for people to act like wild animals when we're in a civil society. It's okay to disagree. But people's, as you probably heard in the Capitol, that a woman died. A woman died because people disagreed who the president was. And that is one of the most unfortunate things that can ever happen in a society. We are better than this. And we have to be better than this because we know if that was us, they would have pulled guns on us. They put guns on us a lot sooner. And yes, it sucks that we have to be better, but we have to be better. And we are better. We are doing better. You're part of this program. You're getting better. You're part of this program. You're improving yourself, which I commend you for. I really thank you for being part of this program, for wanting to improve yourself. As a quote from Stephen R. Covey, seek to understand, then be understood. And I think a lot of you gentlemen are doing that today. And step 5. Inform others. This goes along with exercise your interdependence. Use your voice. As this quote that says out here, it says, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise of thereof or abridging the freedom of speech, of the press, or the right of people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for redress of grievances. That is the First Amendment of the Constitution. What this says is that you have a voice, that you have a voice that you can exercise. You can exercise your voice. So, gentlemen, I would encourage you to exercise your voice, exercise that First Amendment, as Black Lives Matter has done, as Black Lives Matter has peacefully protested as we've seen in the past few months. They have peacefully protested and they are demanding a change in the system. And it will, and again, it started with 3 women and spread across the nation, then it spread across the world. This movement is one of the part of history. We are living in a part of history right now. And that's so distant because we're young since we're living in it. It's so crazy right now and it's hard to see it, but we are living in a part of history. And we have an opportunity to have our names remembered in the history books. And how do you do that? By getting involved, by informing others, by informing people who are ignorant, who are unknowledgeable, and ask to tell them the reason why this is an important movement for not only us, but for all minorities and for all oppression that's happening around the world. So before I get to the credits, I'd like to ask a question to you, gentlemen. I would say, what is the importance of thinking inside out? You may answer in the chat.
Can I speak? Can I speak?
Oh, yes, sir.
Try to make changes to help yourself and others.
Good answer.
What was number 3, please?
You mean step 3 was conduct your own research. Step 3 was conduct your own research.
You have answers coming in the chat room.
Oh yeah, I see.
I'm looking.
Stay indoors due to COVID. Helps yourself and others. Try to confuse the narratives that we've been taught. The point of it is to understand others and yourself.
Yep, these are all good.
These are good.
These are really good answers. I'm very proud. I really just make sure that you guys understood the importance of thinking inside out. You guys are getting it. You guys are getting it. And I really appreciate it. Thank you. So, with that, I would like to thank Mr. Chase Pringle, Mr. Kendall Austin, Mr. Mason Wackerman, Mr. Reynolds Young, Mr. Xavier Almaki. These gentlemen worked very hard for the past few weeks on these slides, and I'm very happy how it came out. And I cannot express to them how appreciative I am of them and how we came together as a group, and I'm very proud how it came together. We all did our parts, and I think this really came out as a great presentation. I would like to thank you, Mr. Burnett, and all the National brothers who allowed us to do this, and have us the opportunities to do this, to have opportunity to lead and communicate with our Kappa Leaguers. And with that, turn over.
Great job, everyone.
Thank you.
Jameer, I'll let you finish up.
Yeah. So I would ask you, gentlemen, a favor. For the rest of this month, I would like you to be proactive. I would like you to post KL for BLM, aka Kappa League for Black Lives Matter. Know that we are getting involved. Know that we are being aware. Know that we are being a part of history. So for next month, I would like to ask you to say hashtag KL for BLM, Kappa League for Black Lives Matter. Because Black lives do matter. It happens all across it's happening all across the world. Oppression matters. In this country, we are improving this country. We will improve this country. Thank you, gentlemen. MJ, do you raise your hand? Okay. And with that, I'd like to turn our speaker, Mr. Attorney, Chris Young.
Good afternoon, guys.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I hope everybody's doing well.
Good afternoon.
I hope everybody's doing well.
Good afternoon.
I commend you guys
Good afternoon.
for being a part of Kappa League. You know, just like Jameer said, that's kind of step one. That's, you know, you're in a position that a lot of young men are not in just by being able to get some of this information. Information that I hope is going to be very useful, you know, for you guys. You know, since I guess the pandemic and George Floyd, I've done quite a few Know Your Rights presentations, you know, via Zoom. Some of them are, you know, with only African Americans. Some of them are with corporations. Diversity has kind of become a big thing after George Floyd. But, you know, when talking to you guys, this presentation is almost not even called Know Your Rights. It should almost be called Keeping You Alive, or How Do You Stay Alive? I know I don't have very much time, so I'm not going to do my whole long presentation, but we'll give you guys a chance to answer questions. But I'll give you a little background first. My name is Christopher Young. I'm from Greensboro, North Carolina. I went to undergrad at Shaw University, which is in Raleigh, North Carolina, played baseball there. Left there and went to North Carolina Central, got a master's in public administration. Left there and went to Appalachian School of Law, which is in Grundy, Virginia, and got my JD. When I first graduated law school, I went back to Raleigh. Well, no, during law school, I had some internships, including one at the district attorney's office in Raleigh. I did that 3 separate times. After my first year, in between on Christmas break, my second year, and then after my second year. After graduating, I went back to Raleigh for a little while and worked for a solo practitioner. We were going to do a multi-state firm. So in about 2012, I left Raleigh, opened up a firm in Washington, D.C., where I specialize now in federal criminal defense as well as post-conviction relief. I travel pretty much everywhere. I've litigated in probably 10 to 12 different federal districts. All I do is federal criminal and post-conviction. And I'm also a adjunct professor at the Appalachian School of Law, where I graduated from. I've been doing that for about 5 years. And the course I teach, now I actually teach race in the law as well as post-conviction relief. So, you know, the thing that when I'm talking to younger kids, and you guys I know are super intelligent, you're on it. I'm gonna guess you're probably from about 7th grade to 10th, 11th grade, 12th grade, maybe. You know, Jameer went through some names of some people that have been killed by the police, African Americans, and I usually go through about 30 because there's so many that we don't know, and you know we don't know because we only know what. Who can tell me what we know? How we find information out? Can anybody type that in the chat?
Watch the news.
Exactly. So the news determines what we get outraged by, what we found out about, what we find out about. A lot of people don't know. Y'all know how long Trayvon was dead before the news started covering it, and we got upset. It had been a while. We didn't find out quickly. We didn't find out quickly at all. So when the news says, hey, this is newsworthy, this is something you guys need to worry about, then we get worried about it. Now, one name that Jameer did not name, which still to this day bothers me to my core, is Tamir Rice. Y'all know about Tamir Rice?
Yes, sir.
Tamir Rice.
Yes, sir.
He was 12 years old, right?
Yes.
So probably a lot younger than some of you guys, and younger than some of you. Some of you may be 12. So he was 12. He's at the park. He's playing with a gun, a toy gun, and he gets shot by police, right? So at some point, you know, they say, oh, he's a big 12-year-old. We thought he was a man, grown man playing, you know, toy gun. So no video on this. So, hey, lucky anything happens, actually, because with the video, we still get injustice. Without the video, you really don't have a chance, right? I mean, out of my clients, probably 60% of them tell me something that the police did, whether it be roughing them up, taking money.
Mr. Young, you're frozen.
I'm sorry. Can y'all hear me now?
You were
Yeah, it might be on your end.
Okay.
Yeah, you're not frozen.
All right. So, like I said, 60% of the time, my clients tell me something that the police have done that is unethical, whether it's taking money, roughing them up, you know, name calling, any of that stuff that does not have to be done under any circumstances. So a lot of things happen, but you can see now when we have a tape, we have a tape. And, you know, I tell people to this day, what society has decided that our life is valued at is between $6 and $8 million. That's what you get. You get killed on tape, your family gonna get $6 or $8 million. Freddie Gray, $6 million. Tamir Rice, $6 million. I don't know what George Floyd got. Let's see, but they're all getting what we think $6 to $8 million, and say, hey, man, that's what he was worth. You know, and then, you know, some people, you know, as egregious as this is, some people say, oh man, They wouldn't have been worth that much if they were alive. So they don't value our life. So when Jameer was saying we got to be better, oh, you have to be a lot better. We got to be a lot better. When I say we, I don't just mean you young guys. I mean the older guys too. Everybody has to be a lot better. So we're going to get into some other things if we have time. But the first thing I want to do is to kind of tell you guys how to handle a situation with police so you can stay alive. Because what your goal has to be, whether you're a driver, whether you're a passenger, regardless of the situation, your goal needs to be, I want to make it home to my parents. I want to get home and let my parents know what happened and let them handle it. So all the advice and all the stuff that you guys said before I started speaking was right on point. So the first thing that happens in a situation, and I'm going to put all you guys in the car, okay? For you, those of you that can't drive yet, I'm going to put you in the car with your buddies. So the first situation that happens is, say you get pulled over, right? If you're stopped by the police, the thing you want to do immediately is, I want to make it home. So the driver should have his license, his car registration. He should have all this stuff out and ready to go, because the first thing that happens is a conversation. The first thing the cop does is come up, and this is a trick question. The first thing he does normally, and a lot of adults don't even get this, is he says, you know why I pulled you over? And what do people say? Oh yeah, I was speeding. So you did what? You just confessed, right? You just confessed to speeding. So now he's got a right to pull you over. So now for somebody like me, your lawyer, well, now you've ended that defense for me. Maybe I had a defense of, oh, he was pulled over for no reason. He's pulled over for driving while black. He's pulled over because it was 4 young black kids. But you told him, and he's gonna write. If he don't write anything else down, he's gonna write that down. Oh, I asked him why. He said, why did I pull him over? He told me he was speeding. Might not even seen you speeding, but you already told him you did. So you want to have this conversation with him. You want the conversation to go as smooth as it can be. If he says, hey, you know, why did I pull you over? Oh, officer, I'm not sure why you pulled me over. I guess maybe you thought I was doing something that was illegal, or, you know, maybe I violated the traffic law. I'm not sure. Next thing he's going to ask you is, hey, where you heading? Now, there are times I will admit that I don't know why they pulled me over, and I'm kind of upset. So when he asks me, where you heading? I want to know, why does it matter? If I'm going north, are you going to not give me a ticket versus if I'm going south? Or if I'm going home versus if I'm going to the office? Doesn't really matter where you're going, but hey, go ahead and entertain them. Where you headed? Oh man, we went to the movies, now I'm headed home. We were at a Kappa League meeting, we stopped at Applebee's to get something to eat, now we're headed home. So at that point, you're not being detained, you're just being asked some questions. Now here's a big thing. Oh, can they ask questions to the passengers in the car? Basically, they can do whatever they want. If they want to ask your passengers, hey, give me your ID, they can ask them. If they want to say, hey, step out of the car, you got to step out of the car. One thing people don't understand, driving is a right. It's not a privilege. There's nowhere in the Constitution or any other legal document that says, you know, Charles, you have to drive. It is your right to drive. No, driving is a privilege afforded to you by the state in which licenses you, right? And to drive, you have to have some things in accordance with what the state says. You have to have insurance. You have to have a license. You have to have an operable vehicle. You have to have headlights to work, tail lights to work. Your emission has to be a certain way. There's a lot of things you have to do to drive legally in a state. So you've been pulled over. Maybe you're going to get a ticket or not. But at that point, when you're pulled over, he's in control. That officer's in control. That's not the time to get smart. It's not the time to recite something you saw on SVU. It's not the time to recite something you saw on your favorite TV show, or to do something that a rapper said do. That's not the time to do that. The time to do that is when you're playing around. When this guy who has a gun, who has a badge, and who we've seen almost has the license to kill, right? Because, you know, getting killed is horrible. That's horrible. But you know what else is bad? Getting beat up and going back home with no video, with a broken nose or broken arms, and just having to tell your mama, oh, well, I got pulled over, and what'd you do? Oh, I got smart with him. He jacked me out of the car. He slammed me on the concrete. I skinned my chin. I skinned my nose. He made us all three sit on the concrete while my girlfriend's mama rolled by. What do you guys say when you guys on the road, right? And you see somebody pulled over and there's 4 or 5 cops there. What do you say? Can anybody put that in the chat? What's everybody thinking? Oh, must have a lot of drugs in that car. Oh, they done got caught. Oh, they done messed up now. Nobody's thinking, oh man, cop about to get him a hard time. I think that sometimes I want to pull over and see what's going on. See 8, 9 cops looking through the car. Oh, what's going on? We don't even know. But it's how we're already conditioned to think. A lot of times because of the media. Oh man, 8 cops got 2 black guys sitting on the side of the curb. You think now at any point, Jameer, do you think if somebody sees that and your girlfriend's mother rides by or her father rides by and you sitting on the side of the curb and there's 5 cops by your car, you think they ain't gonna go home and ask your girlfriend what that boy into? That's what the question comes to. What he got going on? It's never just, oh man, it's probably some cops just having a bad day giving this guy a hard time. That's not how it happens. So cops pull you over, you do exactly what they say. Now, in a situation where you get detained, where it's a situation where you've already gotten your ticket and this cop is asking you, he's still asking you questions, this is what you want to ask. You want to say, hey, excuse me, Mr. Officer, am I free to leave? Or am I being detained? Because if you're free to leave, you can get up and you can get out of there. If you're being detained, then you are under arrest. Now, once you get under arrest, what do? Can somebody put that in the chat for me? Right, you do go to jail, but once you're under arrest, you close your mouth. You don't say anything else other than, I want to call my lawyer. Because anything you say from that point is what? Used against you. When the cops tell you that, anything you say can and will be used against you. It's used against you. Now, here's one thing I've never seen. If a cop puts those handcuffs on you, you're going to jail. So you can stop the explaining. You can stop saying what you want to say. You are going downtown to jail. So next call you make needs to be to your mother, a bail bondsman, a lawyer, maybe in that order, maybe reverse orders. But you don't need to say anything else to this cop, because what we do is we want to talk ourselves out of stuff where we're talking ourselves into stuff. And that's not what you really want to do. You want to be quiet, and they have the burden of proving that you were guilty. You don't have a burden of proving that you were innocent. So you get pulled over, you do exactly what the cop asked you to do. And once you get in that car and they start telling you, man, I hate to have to do this to you. I hate to have to take you downtown. Ain't nothing, little charge. Just like, you smoking weed or something like that. You smoke weed too? Oh, I might smoke every so often. Oh, okay. Well, now you get downtown. Now we got this guy.
Absolutely not.
And he smokes weed. And he got pulled over. So now you've been detained and you're under arrest. Now, if you're under arrest, once they get you down there, the way it works, particularly with a lot of younger black kids, is they want to find out, what else do you know? Who else do you know? If you're in high school, who in high school is selling weed? Anybody in high school selling pills? What about breaking in houses? Anybody in high school doing anything that you know about? So, well, let me go ahead and get comfortable and just have a conversation with you and tell you everything I know. And a lot of the stuff, I'm going to be put right in the same pod with the same people. You're going to indict me on that too. When I used to work for the prosecutor down in Wade County, one thing that would bother me so much, man, let's say a situation where you got 5 high school age kids walking home from school. You guys know who John Wall is, right? Basketball player, John Wall. This happened to John Wall.
Yes, sir.
Okay, this happened to John Wall in Raleigh when he was a senior in high school. They walking home from school. They stop at an abandoned house, and maybe they're gonna smoke some marijuana, maybe smoke some cigarettes, maybe just hang out. Abandoned house, right? Well, neighbor calls, oh, a bunch of kids, in this abandoned house. Well, they arrest all of you. If it's 5, they arrest all 5. I don't care if somebody say, this is my aunt old house. We can go in here, nobody live here. And you know what they charge you with? Anybody guess what they charge you with when they arrest you for walking
Breaking and
home?
entering.
No, not trespass.
Trespassing.
Trespass is too easy.
Trespassing.
No.
Breaking and entering.
You can still get a job with a trespass charge. They don't want you to get no job.
Breaking and entering.
Felony.
Breaking and entering. Breaking and entering. So now you're 16 years old. You're 16 years old. You've come to court, and you brought your mama to court. You might not have had a lawyer. Maybe you couldn't afford one. I know if I would have got in trouble as a kid, my mom wouldn't have been able to afford no lawyer. And heck, if I could have went to court without her, I would have, without even telling her. So okay, so you get this breaking and entering charge, right? And you go to court, and this is what the mama used to say, right? Mom used to say, "Oh, I just want my baby to be able to go home. As long as he don't get, I don't want him to get in no more trouble." And the DA say, "Oh, well, you know what I do for you, ma'am? I let him plead guilty to misdemeanor breaking and entering, and I'll waive the fine for you, and just don't do it again." Okay? So you, Charles, you're gonna walk out of there with a breaking and entering charge on your record. So when you go apply for this job at Food Lion, and a lot of times employers don't know how to read records, all they see is M, breaking and entering. Tell you what, people don't want to hire. They don't want to hire no thief. They don't want to hire no killer. So if you're breaking and entering, you're stealing, right? Because you're not going to get the chance to explain. No. Right. And that record's going to follow you. Hey, Charles, that record will follow you to your Kappa interview. Because if we're in a Kappa interview, you know what I'm going to ask you? Man, you was breaking and entering where? You did what? Oh, I know. You got to tell me about this. Because I want to know about this. Because you do better getting the DUI than you do breaking and entering. You get DUI, you were drinking a little too much. You breaking and entering, you're a thief. Larceny, oh, you went to Food Line and you stole a candy bar, and the Food Line guy didn't want to give you a smack on the wrist. He wanted to call the police, and you didn't want to tell mama, so you went on in there and you pled guilty to larceny. So now on your criminal record, you know what they might as well stamp on there? I steal. They might as well stamp it all in red. I steal. So that means now the person at McDonald's don't want you behind the register. The person at Food Line don't want you behind the register. A lot of schools want to know, hey man, what's going on with this? So that's what happens to us. Now, to the person who can afford an attorney, what's going to happen to him? Well, he's going to come down. He's going to come downtown, and the DA is going to say, you know what, Mr. Jones, he doesn't need this on his record at all. So let's do this. Go let him do 100 hours community service. You bring that back to me. We'll go ahead and dismiss this charge. And not only will we dismiss it, we will expunge it. And nobody will ever know what happened. You see how the advantages start that early? They start that early. They start at 16, depending on the state you're in. If your criminal record can start at 15, it'll start then. And that's a lot of times because sometimes I'm a first generation college student. My mama didn't know nothing except, I don't want you to go behind them bars. That's what she used to tell me. If they ever get you behind them bars, ain't nothing I can do for you. So what she wanted to do was protect me. And a lot of times our parents think, oh man, we protecting. And a lot of times you don't have a choice because you know what? When they put that misdemeanor on there, what? You can't get no court-appointed attorney. You know what? You can't really call no attorney. Mama might not have $500, $600, $700, $800 laying around to pay because you walked in an abandoned house. Because a lot of times us lawyers, man, we don't want to answer our phone if it ain't $8,000, $9,000. It might not be worth my time, right? So these are some of the odds that you guys are against. These are some of the odds, some of the stuff that happens. You guys saw what happened at the Capitol, right? So everybody's upset. They say, oh man, they stormed the Capitol, blah, blah, blah. Like this would have never happened if they was black. You are absolutely right. We would have never got to the door. I work in Washington, D.C. a couple of days a week. Man, there's snipers on every building up there. You can't walk in no building in Washington, D.C. without signing in, without seeing security. These guys stormed the Capitol. And not only did they storm the Capitol, then they went home. And we had to ask them, please turn yourself in. Please, man, that would have never happened if that was us. Now, when you see something happen, Think about this. When the George Floyd riots were happening, right? And they were going to Walmarts all across the country and people running out with TVs and stuff, right? Those people ain't stay free a day, right? So you mean to tell me Walmart got better security and a better system than our federal government, the Capitol? They don't. They don't. But here's the thing. It's two systems. You have to realize it's two systems. And the only way to change a system, going back to what Jameer said, is you have to get in it. So I'm in a system because I want to help change the system. I want to fight for people. But you know what? If I sat here and told you, man, I don't never get frustrated. It's always just easy. It's hard because what you guys saw on the big screen Wednesday is what I deal with every day. It's what I deal with every day when white guy go to court and he's got 10 kilos of cocaine and he gets 5 years, and black guy might go to court with a few rocks and he gets 30 years, right? That's because that's how the law was written. We were trying to fix it, but that's how the law was written. So it's never going, when people tell you, oh man, everything's equal, it's not the same. It is not the same. And you guys have to realize that. And that's why we're here, because you have to realize that. You have to realize, hey, first, I want to make it home. I want to make it home, and I want to document everything, and I want to remember what happened. But the first thing you got to do is make it home, because, you know, sadly, and I never thought you had to say this, man, they will kill you. They will kill you. Because we see George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and Michael Brown and Tamir Rice, and Freddie Gray, we see all those, but man, it's hundreds more that we don't know nothing about. Men and women. And I could read them out to you. They're out there and they're getting killed by the police. Because you know what? The police are just humans. So a lot of those people at that Trump rally that don't like black people, they police, right? They police officers. They might pull you over. And it's just you and him. And it's your word against his. So now let's speed up a couple years, and I'm gonna get to some questions. Let's speed up a couple years. Now you guys are 25, 28, and coming from your girlfriend's house, you get pulled over by the police, and y'all get into an altercation. You ain't doing nothing wrong, but y'all get in an altercation, get into a fight. And at this time now, Charles, maybe you done made it to Kappa, and you done graduated college, and you got a good job. What's the first thing they're gonna do? They're gonna pull that background. Yeah, but he good now. When he was 16, that boy was breaking in houses, right? He was breaking in houses. That thing gonna follow you, man. A lot of people think your criminal record is like your credit and it fall off in 7 years. It don't go nowhere. That criminal record say, hey, I'm still here. Hey, Charles, don't forget. I know you magna cum laude. I know you in law school, but don't forget, got this breaking and entering. The bar examiner's gonna want to talk about that. The higher you go up, the people want to talk about that. Oh man, you've been good to be in the House of Representatives. Maybe you got tapped for that, except for that breaking and entering. Except for that marijuana charge you got when you were 17. Ain't tell your mama, just went to court and paid the fine. Forgot, it's still on your record. You forgot about that. Except for that fight. Oh man, assault. Oh, you had a bottle? Wait, assault with a deadly weapon. Goodness gracious, you did all that? So guys, I'm gonna stop right there because I could go on forever. I know Mr. Burnett said I had about 20 minutes, so I'm gonna stop right there. And I'm gonna let you guys ask a couple of questions. Anything I can answer for you, I will. I also leave my email address, social media. If you guys want to email me, you know, I will get my phone number. It's like 300 of y'all on here, so I give my email address. And you know, if you guys want to email me, you have any questions or anything like that, man, you got a lawyer, you can ask the question too. You know, always in confidence. But you know, if you guys have anything else, go ahead and shoot them to me.
You want questions in the chat room?
However, whatever you guys feel more comfortable with, however y'all like to do it.
Probably. I have a question.
For sharing your story with us.
Okay.
Okay, so I have a question. I'm just curious myself. Number one, what you were talking about earlier with expunging records, I didn't know if you for certain laws, I guess in certain states, you can pay to get them off your record. That's the first thing. I didn't know that. I just found that out like a couple weeks ago. But I wanted to ask you, because with law enforcement, when you hear people talk about Kamala Harris and her record as a prosecutor and all these bad things and good things or whatever she's done, what's your opinion on her and her record as a prosecutor, and what do you think?
She was a prosecutor, so that's her job, like to prosecute people. That's about the extent of it. Like she did what she was supposed to do. Like she was a prosecutor, so I can't say like she was great, or people talk about Joe Biden and the crime bill, or Bill Clinton and the crime bill. Crime goes two ways, man. Like sometimes you're a victim. Sometimes black people are victims. Sometimes black people want justice too. So it wasn't just. It's not so much a black-white thing. We have traditionally caught the raw end of the stick as far as the type of sentences and the disparities and things like that. But a prosecutor is gonna prosecute, and female prosecutors are notoriously tough. Notoriously tough. So yeah, I don't think her and Joe Biden are gonna be soft on crime. Maybe a little more fair, but I don't think they'll be soft.
I have a question.
Well, hold on. Let's put it in the chat. We've already got a question in the chat room. You want to go back up?
Okay. Let's see.
I think they had.
Which one? Let's see. Should we make KKK illegal?
No, I think there's one. I'm trying to go back and find it.
Hey, Mr. Bernard, I got the question. It says, the question, what do you do if a police officer is following you down the highway, but there's nowhere to stop and there's no near exits? By Josh Reynolds.
Okay, in that situation, Josh, what you want to do is slow down to a slow speed, and you'll get to the area with the most light that you can. Whether it's a rest stop or a truck stop, or maybe there's something off the highway. They are pretty lenient as far as letting you get to somewhere where you can stop, as long as they can see that you're not trying to elude. So if you were in the far lane, you would come all the way over to the closest lane, to the shoulder, and go ahead and put your hazards on or your turn signal and let him know, hey, I am going to pull over. A lot of times, what I do is sometimes I'll call somebody. You may want to call somebody, and then maybe put your phone down on your console so they can hear their interaction.
I got a question. Could you explain to the young men why the police are allowed to lie to you, and and make them aware that that's part of their interrogation? They are allowed to lie.
Yeah, the cops do not have to be honest to you. You really can't lie to them. That's called obstruction of justice. But they can't lie to you. They can tell you, hey, like say you got something going, you get pulled over. They may say, hey, I got a guy downtown who already told me that you were with them when they were breaking in those houses. So they can directly lie to you. And the Supreme Court of the United States have said that is okay. That is a fine investigation technique that the police have been given.
Question from Zion. Zion, go ahead.
All right, so I already asked my question earlier. Sorry.
Okay.
Gentlemen, if there are, again, Brother Young, like I said, every time I hear you talk, it's very informative, and so appreciate it. And
I a question in the chat, but nobody even paid attention, so I'm just gonna flat out ask it out loud. I asked, since you deal with the court justice system and all that, I just wanted to ask, why are hate crimes dealt less seriously in terms of charges and all that, and penalties in accordance to the comparison in which people are being charged with the drug substances?
You said hate crimes?
Yes.
Well, the thing about a hate crime, man, is just like the KKK question. There's a very thin line between freedom of speech and almost anything else, which is why a lot of times you can get away with these protests and things like that. But I mean, a little, and this may be a little much for you guys, but drugs are also a big business. Even with drug crimes, a lot of people don't know after you're charged with drugs, you get a drug tax. You know, you get a drug tax, a real tax from illegal drugs that you have to pay, or you'll have a lien on you for not paying. So drugs is big business, and also it's easier to prosecute when you have less people involved. A lot of these hate crimes, KKK stuff, you don't have a whole lot of people involved, and a lot of times the crime is not, unless there's a murder, involving one of the hate groups. There's not a whole lot of stuff going on that they are going to prosecute or be willing to prosecute.
All right, Brother Young, again, we appreciate you and appreciate your insight. And Brother Murray, I'm gonna turn it back over to you to close us out.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Brother Young. Thank you to all of our National Kappa League board members for that wonderful presentation. It was enlightening and really refreshing. We are going to forge ahead really quick. We have just a couple of things that we need to talk about regarding the stock market challenge. Brother Jackson, you got the stock market challenge update?
Yes, I do. So I just want to say that this young man has, held the top of the pyramid for the whole time. So I don't know how the rest of you guys are going to be able to overtake him. I gotta find it, but I think it's Zion. No, somebody else. I can't find it. It disappeared. Here it is. So he has gained over $1 million in his challenge, and that's Zamir Harold. He's gained $1.1 million in this challenge so far. So this challenge is still going on. We have somebody called Jay Self-Proclaimed, who's in second place with $491,000. So the stock market has been really good to them. So, and we see more people joining. Again, if you want to join, we'll put the link. We'll put the link back out with the password for you to join, and we'll see how well you can make it up the market. Murray.
All right. Thank you, Brother Jackson. We'll go ahead and go right into our National Guy Right social media. Brother Gilmore.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, brothers. Happy New Year, young men, and I hope everyone had a productive week. So we're going to give the social media updates. All right, here we go. In the chat, type the word goals. In the chat, type the word goals. Goals, 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 goals. 2021, I hope you guys have some goals set up for the new year. The conversation that we had today was amazing, but at the same time, always have goals for your life. Make sure you're planning for the future ahead. So one of the goals I had for the Guy Right Instagram page that our social media team talked about was reaching 1,000 followers on our Instagram page. And although right now we're actually at 913 followers, we didn't reach our exact goal of 1,000, but we're on the way. And that's what I'm super excited about. Sometimes you set milestones in life and you may not reach the exact milestone, but you keep on pressing. So we're at 913 followers. We've grown over 200 followers since, around 100 followers, 150 followers since the last time we talked in December. So that is part about this. Make sure you're following the Guy Right page. If you're not, at National Guy Right is the Instagram page. So go ahead and follow if you have not followed yet. Next slide for me. So again, our goal, our goal for 2021, our January goal, right? So I made it a little closer for us, 1,000 followers by the end of January 2021. That's one of our social media goals. I want to share that with y'all. Brandon said he had a question. Do I want to take that now or? Oh, okay. Next slide. All right, so some of the current social content, we have Tag a Kappa Leaguer, which is one of our initiatives to find the gamers, the Kappa Leaguers that are gamers, Kappa Leaguers that are playing football, going into their basketball season, also those who are preparing for track season, those who are even in robotics or just learning new things. So we're cultivating that community. So hashtag Tag a Kappa Leaguer. Oh, that's a different question. Have hashtag Why Kappa's Mentor. That started earlier, January 4th. And today we've been sharing stories. We're going to begin sharing stories on Why Kappa's Mentor. I received some submissions over the past week. So you're gonna start seeing those on the National Guide Right page, Instagram page. And then one of our upcoming hashtag campaigns is going to be 50 years of Kappa League. So be on the lookout for that as well. So here's a couple examples here of the content you see that is designed by our team. And again, if you see it on Instagram, go ahead and like those photos, comment, and be sure to be on the lookout for more content from us. All right, if you haven't subscribed to the Kappa League TV on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe as well. There have been a lot of videos that have been uploaded, and there are currently 6,800 followers, which continues to grow for us. And it is an amazing platform that you young men can use to promote yourself, as well as you're going to showcase more of our content, long form content, where with interviews, so on throughout the rest of the year. And again, if you have photos, if there are things you want us to share, send it over to ngrmedia1922@gmail.com. This is where all of our content goes, and that we can post those as well. Kappa League for BLM, hashtag Kappa League for BLM. Yes, I want to share that. So if you don't mind, go ahead and send a DM to the Guide Right page so we can make sure that we can see all of that content and we can get that shared to everyone.
All right.
Cool. Yes, any questions or anything? All right.
Any questions for Brother Gilmore?
Yes. Does Kappa, I'm sorry, I accidentally muted myself. Does Kappa have an official Discord server?
No, we do not. Is that something that you have interest in?
Yes, this Discord is similar to Messenger.
Right.
Mm-hmm. In case you haven't heard of it, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be interested in that.
Okay. Do you mind sending an email to ngrmedia1922@gmail.com and just giving us some more details on starting that? What's that about? So we can look it up and get.
I created one already.
You did.
You did? Okay.
Yeah, I'll just send an invite link.
Cool. All right.
He got you.
Okay. Any other questions? All right. Thank you, Brother Gilmore, for that update. We appreciate it. Brother Burnett, we'll turn it back over to you for remarks.
I'll make this real quick. Basically, as I said, we'll be doing the National Guide Right podcast. You saw the welcome at the start. Our first interview will be with Zion Newby, who's on here today as part of the National Kappa League board. So that'll be coming out pretty soon, and hope everybody will look at that. And we'll be sharing this recording also of this Zoom meeting out with your advisors so they can share it with other people. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Brother Burnett. And also our next meeting will be Saturday, February 13th, 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. Mountain, and 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Are there any last minute questions from anyone?
I have a question.
Sure.
So when was our next meeting again?
Our next meeting will be Saturday, February 13th.
Okay.
Okay.